Hey everybody, it's Amber here for Tune In Tuesday with Hope, Healing Our Past Experiences. And I just want to welcome you back again this week where we discuss the tough stuff, answer your questions, and share stories of hope. And so this is our part 3 of our series talking about healthy sex. Last week we talked about creating a garden, and you just need to go back and check out session 1 and 2 in this series. And so this week we're going to talk about the biggest sex organ, right? And that's really our brain. And how important is that when we are having healthy sexual relations? And so, really for men, when they look at women, most of the time they look at them physically and they're able to just get turned on rather quickly, right? But for women, it's more of an emotional turn on. Like, you need to have some conversation, right? So that's intellect. They need to know that you want them for more than just really what's at hand, right? So they want to know that they're loved, right? And this isn't 100% one way or the other, but this is in general, right? And also the other part of that is, like, when we're talking about the brain, let's talk about pornography, right? And we live in such a society that things have been we're desensitized to so much. And in that, there are ideas that come along with pornography, if that's been introduced to you, if that's something you're struggling with, or maybe it's something that you're embracing, like you haven't seen anything wrong with it, right? So I want to point out a few things that when it comes to pornography. One, pornography never asks consent, right? And so the things that are going on often in the pornography are being done without consent, okay? And so the acts that are being acted out by even husband and wife or boyfriends and girlfriends and things like that, they're usually pretty forceful, right? And so in that's not really a turn on, okay? And so that's not a deep emotional bond, right? That's not that deep intimacy that really is longed for in a healthy sexual relationship. It's really like you're just kind of putting on a show or a front, right? One of the things that I talk about is my husband is Mr. Very Consistent, Mr. Steady. He's about 6'2", shaves his head and has a goatee. He's a blacksmith, right? So he's a pretty good sized guy. Now, he's Mr. Steady and consistent and reliable and dependable all outside of the bedroom, right? So when we get behind the closed doors, like, I can't expect him to turn into Fabio and like all this, like, rose petals across the bed and spontaneous kind of thing. It's not his personality. And if I'm expecting that out of him, it's unrealistic expectations that I've put up on him and probably haven't even communicated to him. Now, if I communicated that those were things that I might like, then he might choose to do that, right? But in so many relationships, we have these unrealistic expectations that have been put in our minds through ideas, whether it be through books, friends who are discussing their lives, right? Or pornography, right? And so having realistic expectations in your bedroom, things that you are communicating about, go back to that garden we talked about last week, is so key. The other thing about pornography, and I'm going to make sure that I want you to get nothing out of this, focus on this. If you are utilizing pornography in your relationship, then who you're with right now isn't going to satisfy you long term. Because what you're beholding, what you're looking at when you're having that release, that orgasm, is not your significant other. It's going to be those images that are there, which is what you're attaching to, right? And so there's science behind that. So if you want to have a healthy sexual relationship, then you cut out the pornography, right? And I know it may be awkward, right, to be able to push beyond that, but really thinking about that, like, what is it that emotionally turns you on? What is it that physically turns you on without all of these other clutter things that want to come in from pornography, right? There's a song out there that makes me giggle because it was one of these things that, like, it's called One Hot Mama, okay? And it was sung by a country artist, and the video, I love it. I absolutely love it, because for moms and for women, so many of us, we feel like we're just a hot mess, especially at the end of the day when you've ran around and you did all these other things. But when that significant other comes in, that's not what they see. They don't see that hot mess, right? They see us as beautiful and attractive and somebody they want to be intimate with, right? And so where we may think, oh my gosh, I've got sweatpants on, how could that be attractive, right? That's not how they see us, okay? So I just want to encourage you that if you are insecure about your looks, they're not looking really at the fine details that you think are not good enough. They're wanting to be intimate spiritually, emotionally, right? Physically with you. Spirit, body, and soul. Sex is a 3-dimensional thing, and most of us are stuck with body to body. and just very dissatisfied with that. Our soul is our mind, will, and emotions, right? Some are having that 2D sex, but 3D sex is spirit, body, and soul. And so I just want to encourage you today with that, right? And I hope to see you all again next week when we finish up the series about healthy sex. I'll be talking about healthy sexual expressions, and not all of them are healthy. There's only one that is healthy, but kind of give you a little teaser. So come back next week and we'll talk about sexual expressions, and you can figure out maybe what's yours. See y'all then. Bye.